Hi, this is Renee with Fraley Farm Mini Homestead. I'm back at you today with a very tough video. One of the videos that I really do not like to talk about, but unfortunately it is a real subject and it's one of those things we have to talk about. So basically what's going on is, excuse me, I have a chicken that I found wedged inside a cinder block. So I don't know how, don't ask me what happened, but anyway, this is one of my silkies. She's not very old. I guess she's maybe, I don't know, 2 months old, not even quite 3 months old, something like that. And in their little tiny chicken coop where the babies are, I've got cinder blocks that actually lift their feeder and their waterers up so they don't end up making a mess and flipping the darn thing over. Well, last night when I went out there to feed them, I found her. I have no clue how long she'd been like that. Actually, the day before, I didn't let the babies out because it had been storming and storming and storming. So I left all the chickens up for a good 24 hours. And then, like I say, last night, when I went out to check on them and feed them, man, I found the feathers sticking out of the cinder block. And I thought, this is kind of weird. What the heck is going on here? So anyway, when I found her, her head was twisted backwards and she was looking behind her and up, and she was not able to walk. So last night I did, I was able to get her neck straightened out, and actually I made a makeshift neck collar out of some of that foam insulation that you put around your pipes, and I went ahead and taped it in place, and actually she was able to reasonably hold her head kind of still without allowing it to just drop and flop around. And then I was able to feed her some water through a syringe. And then after about an hour, she was reasonably able to keep her head turned in the proper position, but still was not really able to lift the head, as a normal chicken would. Anyway, I ended up putting her in a cage with a bunch of some baby chicks that I had. And last night she was doing pretty decent. I put some food on the ground and she was pecking at the food and eating and everything. So I thought, good, we're in good shape. I figured maybe today that I would have a better response or a turnaround. So when I went out there today to check on her, guess what? Back to square one. Head flopped over, turned backwards. She's off in a corner, can't walk. And it's just like, oh, here we go again. And she is just this, I guess it's a she, I don't know. Sweetest thing ever was, because silkies are so docile. But I'm holding her feathers to keep the head lifted up, but the minute I let go, it just flops back over again. And it's just not a good quality of life. I don't know. I just don't see that she's gonna survive. So the bad thing is, when you have animals, especially if you have several animals, and most people would probably say, well, take your animal to the vet. Yeah. It sounds good, okay? But too many of that, and you're going to be in the poorhouse, y'all, okay? But you do what feels, good for you and what works best for you, for your animals. Yes, I do love my animals. I love them very much. But there's times when I have an animal that is injured, or you have an animal that is sick. I may have a baby that's born that's deformed and not going to be viable or have a good viable life. Unfortunately, I have to call, okay? And this is one of those situations where, even though this is the sweetest animal ever was, and like I say, I do love my animals very much so, but this is not going to be a quality life for this animal or for me. Whatever she's been through, I guess it's a she again, or is going through, it can't be comfortable to have your head twisted almost all the way around and look in the wrong direction. It's going to affect her ability to eat. A crop is not going to function properly, and then that's just going to be a long, slow death, and that's just not even fair, okay? So I'm sure some of you guys probably will not agree with that, but I mean, I got to do what I got to do, Unfortunately, on my homestead, it is survival of the fittest. I love everything. I love all my critters, but I mean, if they're not viable or going to survive or have a good, happy quality of life, they're not going to last. And I would feel terrible just to allow an animal to suffer for my own selfishness. So like I say, unfortunately, I have to make a decision to let this one go. Let me show you how she does respond when I put her down so you guys can see as well. All right. One of the things I do before I either cull or process my animals is I always say a prayer for them. You know, I thank God for my animals because I do love them, you know, and I also don't want God to, you know, be mad at me for making an animal suffer. But then also I want them to, you know, send them back to heaven. Some of you guys may not agree with that. You know, I don't know, you may not be a Christian, but I am. And I believe that God gives us our creatures and our animals and he blesses us with them. But then also, just like our souls, when you believe, we go back to heaven. And I want the same thing for my pets, or my animals, I should say. They're not really my pets, but you know what I mean, okay? All right, let me go ahead and show you what she does, so that way, hopefully that will give a little bit better understanding of why I have to make the choice that I do. All right, so I put her down, and she is still alive. You know, you can see she's still moving, and she's trying, but she's struggling. She can't keep her head up. And unfortunately, there's no way that, you know, I would allow an animal to suffer. I just can't do that, y'all. So I'm going to go ahead and close for right now, and I got to take care of the inevitable. Unfortunately, like I said, that's one of those things I just don't enjoy doing. That's the part of, you know, having animals. I'm outside, y'all, so y'all might see some bugs flying around, but yep, got to just take care of it. That's just part of it. All right, so unfortunately, I had to take care of that, like I said, but, you know, that's just part of having a homestead. You're always going to be faced with an animal that is sick, an animal that is injured. I mean, something's always going to go wrong. Some things you can fix, some things you can't. I mean, if you choose to take your animals to the vet, go right ahead. That, you know, if that was what works for you, by all means, do what you feel is best. But again, in my situation, I'm just showing you what I tend to do on my homestead. And unfortunately, sometimes we have to make these kind of decisions. And yes, it is hard, you know, it's heartbreaking, you know, but to me, it's more heartbreaking to sit there and just watch your animals suffer and struggle. It's not fair, you know, it's not fair. So, but anyway, you guys, I hope you guys, you know, learned something from the video today. Like I always tell you, I believe in showing the real thing. You know, I'm not going to sit there and sugarcoat and make everything pretty and perfect, because that's not what it is, y'all. This is real stuff here. So, you know, feel free to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and I appreciate everybody's support. You guys hang in there, and I'm going to be bringing more great videos. Y'all have a good night.